So once you found that good company and you begin to look at their properties themselves, are they selling you quality? What do they look like? What's their finishes look like? What kind of work do they do? What type of, not guarantee, because that's something that you absolutely must avoid, but what type of assurances do they give you that they've been in business long enough and they know how to operate properly? If the best thing they can say is, I give you a 12-month guarantee of no maintenance, well, I can guarantee you that in month 13, you're gonna have maintenance. If the best they can give you is a 12-month guarantee that you won't lose rent, I promise you that property is going vacant after month 12. That's what happens with a guarantee. It's only there as the shiny object to get you in buying. Avoid it. Look for companies that put quality out there, and they put quality first. They will are more than willing to tell you that this is the best property you can find. It has been renovated to the highest level we can renovate it. We have the best team in place to rent it, and we guarantee you that we know how to operate with a high level of integrity. We know how to operate in a way that you're gonna be happy and satisfied, and you're gonna love the investment you get because it will be consistent and reliable. Invariably, what you end up with is kind of the knowledge to look at houses from a standpoint of not where do I live, but where is it located? A huge mistake investors make is they project, what they see themselves. So especially if you happen to live in an expensive part of the country where it might cost you $100,000 just to build a garage, and you're trying to figure out how can I buy a $100,000 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home, it doesn't always make sense. And so when you hear that you can buy those properties in certain parts of the country, it becomes very enticing. It becomes, again, that shiny object that I have to get started because the properties are so affordable and this is an unbelievable deal. The reality is that you want to buy what I call neighborhood normal. You want to buy within the path of progress. So you don't want to buy the oldest rebuilt part of town where there's nothing new coming in, nothing new going to be built, nothing new being revitalized. You don't want to buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home in the middle of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath neighborhood. At the same time, you don't want to buy the only house within a square mile that doesn't have an attached garage to it. You want to make sure you're buying things that are normal for the neighborhood, first and foremost. Then look at the pricing of the property itself. A big thing that you want to do as an investor, especially with Turnkey, is understand, and this is kind of a relatively new thing that's been going on within Turnkey, is that it should not just be about cash flow. Too often, investors, they buy just to make a cash flow number each month. I'm a big advocate that cash flow is important, but as long as I have an income, I want the assets. I'm looking to control as many assets as I can that will give me a higher return later on. So I want to control assets now. I'm not as interested in the cash flow as I am in the property itself. Is it in an up-and-coming area, within the path of progress, built well? Have they knocked off most of the deferred maintenance? Can I rely on this property to perform the way I expect it to perform for the next 5, 7, 10 years? And then what I want to do is knock out any leverage that I may have put on that property as soon as possible. I want to own that property outright as fast as I can. And so I'm not looking as much at cash flow as I am at, is this a good property? Does it provide the return I'm looking for? And is it going to perform the way I expect it to perform because everything's been done in it the way that it's supposed to be done from the beginning? I'm not as interested in the number as I am in the property itself and the way that the company I'm buying from is going to deliver that service to me. Which that really kind of brings me to the final point and how all this is wrapped in together. It's not rocket science for sure. You're looking for good, solid markets that you know a little something about. At least more than it's where my wife grew up, or it's where my husband's family's from, or my college roommate lives there, or I visited there on vacation. Those aren't good reasons to invest in a market. You need to have something a little more solid. There needs to be good economic news, good happenings, things that give you a high level of confidence that this is going to be a good market for a long time. Remember that if you're going to buy Turnkey, this should be a long-term investment. 7, 10 years at a minimum. Secondly, you know a little bit more now about how you're going to go about finding a good turnkey company. Someone that is going to put your experience first. They care about the experience that you have. They have the systems, they have the team, they have the services in place to make you happy. If those things are in place and then they have really good property, meaning that they're not selling junk, they're not deferring maintenance to hold costs down to help you get in, they're not giving you fake numbers on their sheets and saying that they're going to give you 13, 15, 17% cash on cash, which are almost impossible to attain, and they come with super high risk. If things line up the way they're supposed to line up, the numbers, the house, the systems, the answers that you're getting from them as a company, then you might just be ready to move forward. I get asked all the time, should I go visit the company in person? Should I go see the houses? And I answer that two ways. One, I'm a big believer in knowing who you do business with. There's nothing wrong with going to meet the company. You absolutely should. I'm not as big on seeing the house itself, because for me, I want to see examples of what they do. I want to see examples of the work that they have. I want to speak with other investors and find out, does everything match what they've told me? Am I going to hear from testimonials what I want to hear, what I expect to hear? If everything is all sunshine and roses, you know what I'm going to ask? Send me somebody that wasn't 100% satisfied with your service. I want to hear how you handle someone that has an issue. And then once that client is shared with me, if that client is shared with me, I feel much better. I want to go see who this company is. I don't necessarily have to see the houses, because I understand houses move quickly, but I want to see examples of your product. I want to meet the team. I want to make sure that everything I think is going to happen, my expectation is ready, that you have the ability to deliver. And then once I know this, I'm ready to invest. At that point, I can go back to where I live, go back to work, and when the right property comes up, I'm ready to move forward. Let's do it. Let's buy it. Let's make this happen. Let's begin to build my portfolio. That's how I believe you build a successful, passive investment portfolio using a good, quality turnkey provider. So I hope you found great value, and I hope that you took lots of notes in there. And if you ever have any questions for me, be sure and reach out. Again, this is Clothier over at Memphis Invest. Thanks a lot.